Welcome, folks, to my channel. Tonight I want to talk about the history of the Remington bullet knife series knives. Okay. Uh, the company was kicked off the knife division. The Remington Arms kicked off their knife division where they actually wanted to sell knives. And they started that in 1919. Okay. And by about 1921, they introduced what you see here, the introduction of the bullet series knives. Okay. These are the only three that I own currently. I've owned many of them over the years and have lost many of them over the years. Only to now, in my vast knife collection that I have now, really want to start concentrating on buying these true iconic knives only made exclusively in America. Okay, they were made by many different manufacturers, and I'll get into that with you here a little clearer. So, like I said, in 1919, the first Remington cutlery catalog listed an incredible 182 pages of over 600 models of knives. Okay. By 1926, 2.5 million units were produced. 1941, they stopped production of the knives for the war effort. The actual brass liners that they used in these knives, they needed the brass for the 30 cal cartridges. So they discontinued Remington themselves making the knives. All right. So at this time in 1941, there's 2,000 different styles of knives that they had offered to the public. And the bullet knives you see here, that these three, there was actually, back then by 1941, there was 26 different variations. All right, now what you see here on the top, I have what's called the Master Guide. And this is a 1995 knife called the R1273. Now the R on the back of the main blade has the date, which was 1995 when this knife was produced. The R itself stands for Remington, and the last four numbers of the model 127 3. The 127 basically was the model of the knife, and the 3 was the material used. Over here I have what's called the Bush Pilot. This is a 1993 knife. These are the nickel silver bullet, the bullet knives. Not to get mixed up with the sterling silver bullet knives, because the many different companies that made these did offer them with the sterling silver bullet, and they were a little more costly and more collectible to thought out collectors of the knives. Okay, this is the Bush Pilot. Its model number is the R4356. And after 41, the original knives were actually made in carbon steel, nickel silver bolsters, and they had real bone or stag on the knives. If you was to get these knives in this shape, mint shape today of the originals, they go into well into the $1,000 marks. Just to beat up one, you're gonna pay close to $1,000 or more. You know, you get a halfway decent one, up to the $2,000 mark. You get one in mint, you're looking at $4,500, as high as $7,500 for an original bullet knife with the bone stag or the stag handles that appeared on their knives when they originally made them in the carbon steel blades. Now the newer companies that made them, there was 5 different companies, and I'll get into that in a little bit. But they all made them with the Durlin, mostly in the wood. Okay, there really wasn't any other option, but they did have different runs of bone stag and stag in a limited amount. Okay. Now this one here is the Smoothwood Jumbo Trapper, it's called. Okay, and this is the 25-year anniversary from 82 to 2007. Well, you're thinking, what do they mean by anniversary, right? Well, that's the anniversary of the bullet knife, but it's also the anniversary of how long the first company that was contracted out to make these knives after 1941 in 1982 was Camillus. All 3 of these knives here are made by Camillus. Okay, as you can see, 1995, 93, 2007. The dates are on each secondary blade, or each primary blade, I'm sorry, and the stamps were on the secondary blades, unless it was a single blade. So 95, 93, and 2007, this being the last year, Camillus, after they pulled the plug, sold out to a different corporation. So anyways, yeah, they were all for most, the new makes, reproductions of them were made with Durlin, wood, and a few in bone. But starting in 1982, the boost of 2 new centerfire, the boost of 2 new centerfire rifles, the Model 4 semi-automatic and the Model 6 pump-action centerfire rifles, were offered by Remington. Remington decided to issue a replica of the bullet knife that started it all, the R1123 Trapper, and make it available exclusively as an incentive to purchase these firearms. The bullet knife was not free. You had to still buy the knife for $29.95. But the only way to get one was to buy the Model 4 or Model 6 rifles first. So you had to essentially, to get the R1123 Trapper, you had to buy the gun, and then you had to buy the knife still with it for $29.95. I wish I could buy these today for $29.95, right? But then in the early 80s, they started an explosion of interest in sporting collectibles. In the early 80s, when they started these bullet knife collectible series knives through Camillus, that sprouted off all different types of knives to be collected. I mean, they basically started a trend. All right. Remington also chose an illustrator by the name of Larry Duke to create a poster for each, starting with the R1123 Trapper. Since it was a success, for each knife the following year, out of the 26 models that they offered, they contracted an artist, Larry Duke, and they asked him to produce a poster for each knife, starting with the R1123, of a scene. Now, Remington didn't want anything to do with any blood or guts in the pictures or anything gory, or, you know what I mean? They specifically told Larry Duke, when he made the posters for these knives, that the scene had to replicate a different scenario or situation one would be in when they had the knife in hand. to the knife they were selling at the time. Okay, so they were specific. He was specifically told what he couldn't do, it, which is basically no goriness, no blood and guts. Just making it true Americana. So Remington Arms, they were very successful at these knives, and they had a great campaign going with them. And it was such a success that Remington decided to produce another poster for the next bullet knife, the R1173, the Baby Bullet, the following year. Now, when Remington decided to contract out their knife production to Camillus in 1982 till 2006, 2007, Camillus closed their doors, and Baron Son took over the bullet knife contract from 2008 to 2017. And in 2018, Buck Knives also made a few runs of these knives. And I really couldn't tell you specifically which ones they were. But I'm getting more and more into that. And if you know anything about the Buck offering these knives, or if you have one or anything, please leave a comment. That'd be wonderful. We could share with each other a little more knowledge on the knives. Because I'm just now in the last year or so starting to want to learn the history of this knife. I mean, they were all made in America. They were contracted to be made by American workers only. That's the great thing about it. I mean, who really wouldn't want to collect them? There's so many and so different variations. It's just a great piece of American history here. So now when Remington decided to contract their knife production to Camillus, like I said, like 2017, 2018, Buck also went over with them. And then in 2021, the Baby Bullet was made for the Smoky Mountain Knife Works by GEC, the Great Eastern Cutlery. So Great Eastern Cutlery made knives. Smoky Mountain Knife Works wanted to have their own version of the bullet knives that you can get today. And it's a little confusing because there's another company that's doing them too, and I'll tell you in a second. But Smoky Mountain Knife Works has always had their hands in on contracts with knife manufacturers to make their models of knives for their brand, for their store. Like the Rough Rider Series knives. Manufacturers would make them for Smoky Mountain Knife Works. And as the case, it's for most people, it's like really hard to keep up with who amongst making the knives. Which knife do you really have, and who really made it? Well, I'm explaining it here. So, with the 2021, with Smoky Mountain Knife Works wanting the Great Eastern Cutlery Company to make them a series run of these knives that you can get now, 2021 series. And when you buy them, they're called they actually started them in 2022. So they're called the 222s series bullet knives. Even if you get one in 2024 or 2025 today, they're still called the 22 series knives by Smoky Mountain Knife Works. Okay. So, that said, now, when Remington made these knives, and Larry Duke designed the posters for them, the dealers of the knives that the manufacturer Remington Arms had, the dealers and the customers who actually purchased them, they were calling for more posters. They wanted more posters. So there was one or two posters made, and after the second poster was made, all the fans of the knives, the consumers, the customers, and even the dealers were demanding that they made one for each knife that came out the following year. Okay, up until 2007. So they did just that. And it was through Actually, 1982 through 1997, a new poster appeared annually. Now, that all said, Scott Storm is another artist that Remington got a hold of. All right. Or was it, no, it wasn't Scott Storm. Hold on. It was Duke, Larry Duke, who produced 15 of the 16 posters in the series. And they became highly collectible. And I looked myself forward to getting each poster for every one of these knives. I will eventually probably save up and buy one or two of the originals. You know, I'll save up $3-4 grand, and when I see one that I like, one pops up, I'm gonna go after it. I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get at least one or two of these originals from 1922 to 1941. Now today, as of 2024, Berenson has a new contract for making these R1123Ws. So now there's a new knife out called the R1123W. Well, what's the W stand for? It's /W, R1123/W. That's the newest knife of 2024, made by Berenson. It's the Waterfowl series. So now Berenson has the contract on making these knives. And they kicked off a new series again, other than what they did for Smoky Mountain Knife Works. Berenson is now in the process of making a new run series of all 26 models. In the first one in the series in 2024 is the R1123W. And it's called the Waterfowler. It's based on the platform of the original 1123 and features now, you can get, instead of the stainless steel that they've always came with, 1095 blades. So the new R1123W Waterfowler is going to have 1095 high carbon steel on the blades, and it'll come with a clip point, a long spay with the partially serrated blade, and a birding gut hook. Also with this famous nickel silver bullet shield, inlaid in jig bone handle, genuine jig bone handle. Okay, so that's going to be my next knife. I think I'm going to buy that R1123W, the Waterfowl knife, and also is 100% like all bullet knives made in America by Berenson. There are a limited production run of Remingtons. Also has partnered with award-winning artist for this new series of the bullet knives by Berenson is Scott Storm. It's produced an annual painting celebrating each year introduction of the new bullet knives. The first painting with this 2024 R1123W, the Waterfowler painting, is entitled Tangled Moment, where there's a son and a father waterfowling, and the son is sitting with the dog at the end of the blind while the father's rearranging decoys, and two mallard drakes come flying down, and the son's pointing, "Look, Dad, look." It's a pretty cool piece. You know, Scott Storm is a well-known wildlife photographer, or not photographer, but a well-known wildlife artist. I'm going to look a little into him too, but he's going to be the one That's going to be doing the new posters for the new runs from Bear & Son of these Remington bullet knives, and I just can't wait each year when they put out another one. It's kind of like case with the Vault, you know, every year they come out with a new knife. Well, that's the case now with these Remington bullets. And if you don't keep up with all this information that I'm telling you, you know, it's hard to not know who made what. But for most right now, Camillus obviously is no longer with the contract of making these knives. Who knows? The company that bought out Camillus, they might come along and want to do another run of one or two, maybe a baby bullet or the original bullet or the original trapper, I mean. So we'll see. But for most, though, the contract is given to Bear & Sons. All right, and then I really look forward to the new purchase of the new bullet knives and their posters. The new decade of the newest century. So why wouldn't any collector not have a passion to collect these iconic knives of the American past? I mean, truly, guys, this is as Americana as it gets. Ain't none of them made in China. They never were from 1922 to 2024. I mean, and that is something that's really iconic, you know what I mean? So, just to say, I mean, you know, they're made by a great company. I mean, Bear & Son's just putting out some really great stuff. I want to find out more about the Buck, the ones the Buck knives made. And if you know anything about them, or if you have one, please let me know, like I said, in the comments, and that'd be great. So anyways, this one here that I have on the top, the Master Guide, the R1273 in 1995. Okay, it's got their famous iconic markings on the blades here. Remington UMC, made in America, Remington UMC. Now, if you look on the back, the main blades do indeed have the date on them, or not the date, I'm sorry, the model, Remington 1273. Okay, and the secondary blades always have the date, 1995. Okay, unless it's got a single blade, then it's stamped on both sides with an exception underneath. But these are the nickel silver bullets, and like I said, they offered them in many variations with the sterling silver, which are a little more expensive than these. And they're Durlin brass liners, and that's the main reason, like I said, that Remington quit making them, because of the war effort. They needed all the brass they could get. They couldn't be spending it on the liners on knives. They had to use it for the cartridge cases for the 30 cal, you know, M1 Grand, used in World War II. So and Remington's an arms company, so that makes sense, right? So again, this is the Master Guide. I picked this one up for like 75 bucks. It's never been used. I like to get these unused, unabused, with the boxes. I won't buy one unless it's got a box. I got the rest of the tin here for this knife. But yeah, that's the Master Guide. This one here is the 1993 Bush Pilot. Kind of looks like the shape of a Scout, which is pretty cool. 1993, again, it's stamped on a secondary blade, the year it was made. This is the newest one I have. Made in USA, Remington UMC. And every one of them have the Remington trademark on the main blades. Okay. With these, I got all the original paperwork. I don't have the original wax wrapping. I wish I did, but hey, just having the box and the instructions. This is my girl Emmy Lou, by the way. I have He's always with me in my videos. I have two weenie pits. They're half Dachshund and half Pit Bull, and I love them dearly. But and this one's got the plastic wrap and the instruction sheet, warranty card in it. I bought this for $65 or $70 in an antique store near Pontiac, Illinois. This one here and this one here I got off a good friend, Sean, SC Knife Monkey. Check out his channel, folks. Go to his YouTube channel and check him out. He's got some great content. He's a great dude, man. And he hooked me up with these two knives. I traded him a paramilitary 2 by Spyderco for him. By the way, I am trading my knives for these knives. And if you're interested, just leave a comment and I'll holler at you and give you my email if you have any Remington bullet knives that you'd like to accommodate me with. That'd be great. So, and then this one here, it's called the Smooth Wood Jumbo Trapper. Smooth wood, and he's originally made with cocobolo, and it kind of got a little black in it. I don't think it's cocobolo. It might be, but it's got the date stamp 2007 on it. A little bit of buffing compound on there I gotta get off. But it's the bullet knife silver anniversary 1982-2007, and that's also the year that Camillus had the contract on. Okay, famous stamp and the logo, Remington trademark, always on the knives. This is the 120. No, I'm sorry. This is the 25th year, 25 years to where Camillus actually made them, and they were actually produced by Camillus. So this one here goes in this beautiful tin here. So I'll put that back in there. I'll probably off camera clean them up first before I do, but I like to get these in unused shape when I buy them. If you got any for trade, I'll trade my unused new knives for your Remington bullet knives. And then here's the top for it. Okay, I hope you all found this video useful. I know it's long enough, 27 minutes, but it's a long history on the Remington bullet knives. And I hope you enjoyed the video, and we'll see you again on the next one, folks. So if you could please, like I said earlier, please subscribe to my channel if you haven't, and ring the bell and click like. Ring the bell if you want to be notified of my next videos. If not, no big deal. But I'd like to see you in all of them. And this Sunday night at 8 o'clock, I'm going to have a free giveaway, and I'm going to do it every Sunday. So come check me out this Sunday and you'll see what I'm giving away. I'm going to be giving away what I'm going to actually be making every Sunday night. Thanks for watching, folks, and we'll see you on the next one. Peace.